Are you tired of the high cost of Commander? Has the price of decks gotten out of control? What if I told you you could build a top-tier Commander deck for only $40, but here's a catch, it's PDH. Pauper Commander, an awesome and exciting way to play Commander for not a lot of cash. This video is going to present to you a complete Commander deck that will run only about $40 because it's Pauper Commander. Now, if you haven't already seen my video guide to the Pauper Commander format, you can watch that video here. It's linked in the description. It goes over the rules of the format, deck building, all kinds of cool stuff. But this video will be a look at an electrifying Is It Tokens Commander deck. Even if you don't play Pauper Commander or don't think you're ever going to play Pauper Commander, you still might want to watch this video because in this video, we are highlighting often under the radar and underappreciated Commander cards that make good use in Pauper Commander and can also be used in regular Commander. Just because a card is common doesn't mean it isn't powerful. Isn't it? No. Is it? Is it tokens? That's this deck. So let's take a look. But first, have I told you lately that you are gorgeous? Well, you are, and I just love how you choose to present yourself. The clothing you wear, your choice to use or not use makeup. We shape ourselves as we want, but what happens if how we wish to present ourselves is as someone with hair, but Mother Nature has other plans? Well, that, my friends, is where Keeps, sponsor of this video, comes in. You see, Keeps is a men's subscription service to prevent hair loss and stimulate hair growth. You know, 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the time they're 35, and if you want to work to prevent that loss, Keeps has you covered. Keeps offers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. What's great is that all Keeps treatment plans are recommended by a licensed medical provider and delivered straight to your door. Safe, easy, and secure at about half the price of a traditional pharmacy. And remember, there is nothing wrong with being bald or going bald, short hair, thinning hair, or whatever. But if you are just someone who wants to present yourself as someone with hair, then Keeps is a tool that can hopefully help you in presenting yourself as you so wish. So if you see the signs of hair loss, remember, hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Tolarian or click the link in this video's description. That's keeps.com/Tolarian. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video. The commander for our Is It Tokens deck is Third Path Iconoclast, a 2/1 human monk that costs 1 blue and 1 red mana to cast. Their static ability states, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Many Magic the Gathering players who remember the reign of young Pyromancer can likely surmise the fiery outcome of this effect always hitting our board on turn 2. And casting this commander turn 2 is indeed mission number 1 in this deck strategy. In honor of the third path, our Iconoclast follows. Our strategy will come in the form of 3 total missions. Mission number 1, cast and protect our commander. Mission number 2, draw cards and produce tokens. And mission number 3, deal damage and swing for lethal. Let's begin with mission number 1, casting and protecting our commander. Part 1, Casting and Protecting the Commander. This deck rewards a no-holds-barred play style. We want to cast Third Path Iconoclast on turn 2 every single game. Simply put, a turn 2 Iconoclast is how we will produce the greatest number of tokens possible, thus dealing the greatest amount of damage possible. Casting our essential game piece so early is a move that, much like red mana, is fervent and risky. Thankfully, we have the poise and wisdom of blue mana to keep ourselves level-headed and protected all along the way. Once our Iconoclast is on the battlefield, let's defend them with our Get Off of Me spells. These Get Off of Me spells include Mizzium's Skin, Dive Down, and Nurok's Stealth Suit. Mizzium's Skin and Dive Down are our instant speed responses, granting our commander hexproof to fizzle targeted removal, as well as a toughness boost to withstand damage-dealing board wipes. Nurok's Stealth Suit is our Pauper Pauper Lightning Greaves, also known as Lightning Greaves at Home, and grants us continuous shroud protection when equipped. 3 counter magic staples are also here to protect our commander in dire straits. Negate, Arcane Denial, and Counterspell are practically required in any blue mana Pauper EDH list, and for good reason. Whether it protects our commander from removal or prevents an opponent's game-winning play, counter magic gets the job done, plain and simple. Finally, sometimes the best way to protect our commander is simply to protect ourselves, which is why board stabilizing necessities Curfew, Into the Royal, Blink of an Eye, Aether Spellbomb, and Snap have found their way here. Curfew makes every player bounce a creature to hand, which will easily leverage in our favor with the amount of expendable tokens we have. Aether Spellbomb and Snap allow us to swat away pesky creatures, while Into the Royal and Blink of an Eye help us swat away just about everything else. While there are a plethora of ways one can build third path Iconoclast, the mechanic we've optimized for this deck is token production. Don't forget, every spell discussed in our previous section triggers our commander's ability, creating an additional artifact soldier token. And the very same will be true for each spell in our next section. So let's move right along on to our second mission, one that is effective, straightforward, and encompasses the vast majority of our game actions. It's time to draw cards and create tokens. Part 2, Drawing Cards and Creating Tokens. Token production in this deck borders on excessive. 15 singles are dedicated solely to creating them. Kuldotha Rebirth, Satyr's Cunning, and Hard Evidence are our 1 mana value choices. Kuldotha Rebirth demands we sacrifice an artifact to cast it, but yields us an unbeatable rate of 3 tokens for 1 mana. Satyr's Cunning grants us a Satyr token, plus a chance to cast the spell a second time via its escape ability. And Hard Evidence comes encased with a cuddly crustacean and a curious clue. For 2 mana, our finest choices are Forbidden Friendship, Krenko's Command, and Dragon Fodder. As in tandem with our commander, these spells simply say, pay 2 mana, get 3 tokens. This is an amazing rate of token production that our deck is eternally looking to add more versions of. As for right now though, our next choices at 2 mana are the instants Spawning Breath and Startle. Spawning Breath lets us deal 1 damage to any target and creates an Eldrazi spawn token that we can use for ramp, or just save for the Alpha Strike. Startle is a cantrip that helps us slow down Voltron decks with a -2, -0 debuff and creates a Decayed Zombie token. The 3 mana value slot is where the most fun is, and that's majorly thanks to Circuit's Act and Molten Birth, 2 cards that let us roll dice and flip coins while we pump out tokens. Woohoo! Hordling Outburst and Goblin Gathering round out the Goblin B team started earlier by Krenko's Command and Dragon Fodder. There is one other game action that we will engage in as much as token production, and that's drawing cards. There are 17 singles dedicated solely to drawing cards in this deck, all of which trigger our third path Iconoclast. I'd like to start by mentioning our stellar collection of cantrips. Coming in at 1 mana each, we have Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, Serum Visions, Sleight of Hand, and Consider. While these cards don't technically increase our hand size, they do allow us to sculpt it greatly, and are our least expensive route to creating more soldier tokens. Treasure Cruise, Thoughtcast, and Of One Mind are honorary 1-drops alongside these cantrips, as meeting the Delve and Affinity conditions for Treasure Cruise and Thoughtcast often means they cost just 1 blue mana, and 1 blue mana covers Of One Mind as long as our commander has triggered 1 time. Card draw spells with the absolute most synergy, however, go to Shared Discovery and Distant Melody. Shared Discovery's additional cost of tapping 4 creatures is a condition we can reliably meet, and is well worth doing to draw 3 cards. Ancestral Recall, is that you? Distant Melody allows us to choose a creature type and draw a card for each permanent we control of the chosen type. 9 times out of 10, we will be choosing Soldier and drawing at least 4 cards. The other 1 time out of 10 is the rare occasion we have more goblins in play. Do you know goblins are a monk's best friend? Who'da thunk? So, we are now reliably keeping our hand, as well as our board, filled to the brim with cards and tokens. This is fantastic, but this alone shall not cause our opponents to perish. It's time we looked at the third and final mission of our deck. Light the fireworks and puncture the gas tanks. We're dealing damage and swinging for lethal. Part 3. deal damage, and swing for lethal. There are 6 creature spells in our deck, and all 6 of them contain 4 crucial words that make them invaluable. Irreplaceable lieutenants. Those 4 words: damage to each opponent. Firebrand Archer, Kessig Flamebreather, Thermo Alchemist, Ingenious Artillerist, Reckless Fireweaver, and Witty Roastmaster encompass the only spells in this deck that don't generate artifact creature tokens when cast. What they do generate, however, is our opponent's inevitable demise. Firebrand Archer and Kessig Flamebreather deal 1 damage to each opponent for each non-creature spell we cast, of which there are 59 total, by the way. Thermo Alchemist taps to deal 1 damage to each opponent and will untap itself to do it again whenever we cast 1 of our 46 instants and sorceries. Ingenious Artillerist and Reckless Fireweaver deal damage to each opponent whenever an artifact enters the battlefield. Because all our non-creature spells create artifact soldier tokens, these are essentially additional copies of Firebrand Archer and Kessig Flamebreaker, giving us incredibly valuable consistency. Finally, we have Witty Roastmaster, the best creature in the 99. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under our control, Witty Roastmaster deals 1 damage to each opponent. A turn 3 Roastmaster sets us up for an utterly incendiary turn 4, in which we cast Hard Evidence, creating a soldier, crab, and clue token, dealing 2 damage. Then we can cast Krenko's Command for 2 goblins and an additional soldier, dealing 3 more damage. Finally, we can sacrifice our clue to cast Kuldotha Rebirth, creating 3 goblins, a soldier, and dealing another 4 damage. When all is said and done, we've dealt a combined 9 Roastmaster damage to each opponent this turn. That's nearly 1/3 of the PDH starting life total. And this very same effect can be achieved with Impact Tremors, which is the most expensive card in the deck at around $2, but has all the molten outcomes of Witty Roastmaster. Now just imagine both cards are out at the same time. After our Pyromaniacs put our opponents in critical condition, it's time to finish the job and go for the KO in the combat step. Weapon Surge, Betrothed of Fire, Hack Attack, Mishra's Onslaught, and Goblin War Party are the anthem spells of choice, each granting our entire board a damage boost. Weapon Surge Overloaded grants us +1/+0 in first strike. Our sleeper hit is Betrothed of Fire, which gives our board +2/+0 for 2 mana under the condition we sacrifice our enchanted permanent. Even outside of Pauper, there is only 1 other spell in Magic that grants our entire board a 2-power buff for 2 mana, and that is Warrior's Stand. Except Warrior's Stand is terrible, and Betrothed of Fire is excellent and underrated. Pack Attack costs 3 mana, and as long as we attack all 3 opponents, it's the only card that can give our board a devastating +3 power. Our last 2 pump spells, Mishra's Onslaught and Goblin War Party, cost a slightly steep 4 mana. However, both of these cards are modal spells and act double duty as invaluable token generators. Raid Bombardment deserves the final damage dealing spotlight. For 2 colorless and 1 red mana, we get an enchantment that states, whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, Raid Bombardment deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Continuing from our previous scenario, if we declare an attack with our assembled 3 soldiers, 1 crab, 5 goblins, our commander, and our Witty Roastmaster, we're going to trigger Raid Bombardment, dealing 11 damage directly to the opponent we attack. Be sure to cast our anthems like Mishra's Onslaught and Betrothed of Fire after our Raid Bombardment triggers, and whoever we attack will need a downright miracle to survive. I am continually astonished by the value and efficiency that can be accomplished using only common cards, and I'm confident that this Izzet token deck will have an impact every game, even in non-Pauper ones. With it, we will either win in a blaze of glory, or we will lose in a blaze of glory. But the key word is glory. It'll be glorious! And remember, don't forget to check out my previous video covering all the rules and intricacies you need to know to learn how to play Pauper Commander yourself. The link to that video, as well as the link to this deck list, a $40 Izzet Tokens deck list, will be included in the description below. And hey, remember, there is nothing wrong with being bald or just going bald, whether you've got short hair, long hair, thinning hair, or anything in between. How you wish to present yourself is great because you are sexy and gorgeous, but if you do want to have hair and you see the signs of hair loss and you want a tool to work to prevent it, that is where Keeps, sponsor of this video, comes in. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Tolarian or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/Tolarian. Remember, hair loss stops with Keeps. And thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video.
the season finale of Shuffle Up and Play.
Secret commanders. Each of my guests has brought a commander deck, but none of us know, and we will not know until we cast that commander during the game for the first time.
Legitimately looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh board.
Yeah, we brought
Face down, cards, side.
It's all very clean.
Thistle Persecutor. This is a 6/6 flying trample. You can't win the game and your opponents can't lose the game. Sovereigns in the skies.
Sovereigns in the
Now
skies.
you got
Can
it.
we take my mic off? I think I need to get
Called Liar's Pendulum for 1 mana.
Oh,
I told you, I brought riddles.
that's absurd.
I feel like I'm trapped in an Escher painting. In that case, feast your eyes on.
No.